The saga surrounding Black Myth Wukong and its Xbox release is seeming like a never-ending story. We've seen this come up through the news multiple times. First, when they announced it for all of these platforms out there, coming up for Xbox, PC, PlayStation, and then later on, just before the game was about to launch, we stopped seeing the Xbox logo on the ads for Black Myth Wukong, and then it was confirmed that it was going to be delayed or indefinitely delayed, not knowing if it would actually even come out on an Xbox anytime later. And this is a game that was up for Game of the Year. It is a very highly acclaimed game. It sold millions and millions of copies, over like 20 million or so. It's also a game that has far reachings in China because it is one of the biggest games that was pushed there. People were buying PlayStations for it. A lot of people played it obviously on PC and everything. So it's a game with many different viewpoints and stories that all come in. But the reason why it is not on Xbox is something that people continuously are going back and forth. And we've seen people blame Xbox, the Series S, as the main thing that is holding it back. And then we've seen on the other side that Xbox came out and shot those rumors down and said that it had nothing to do with Xbox hardware. But now it is back in the news again, where the Xbox Series S, which sometimes feels like it takes the blame for literally everything that's happening within the gaming industry, even though, as I've said multiple times on this channel, I think the Series S has done far more good things this generation than bad things for consumers. Low entry price into playing these AAA games, and a lot of them perform very well. I mean, the best looking games of the year, the two best rated by Digital Foundry, Hellblade 2 and Indiana Jones, both run on the Xbox Series S and both run fine on the Series S. You can enjoy both those games with really no issues. But then you have other games here like Baldur's Gate 3, which we know the split screen was what held that back, and Xbox went and they got rid of that requirement for them, and that game came out, ran perfectly fine on Xbox and the Series S and everything. And now we have Black Myth Wukong here in the news again, with the director of the game coming out and blaming the Xbox Series S as to why this game isn't on Xbox, basically saying it has to do with the memory. But we'll take a look at that because it's very head scratching. I don't know if I fully believe that is the reason still, based off of the other information that we have had. And I'm sure there will be updates on this story in the future. And I'm hoping Xbox will respond to this in some sort. Hopefully the people out there who've gotten the original quotes from Xbox will be reaching out. I believe Paul Tassi is reaching out to Xbox to get another quote here, and we'll see what they do say. But here is the story as of right now, because this has been an interesting one, and it's the second day here of 2025, and it's another, right off of the bats, an Xbox controversy that is blowing up on social media and in the media in terms of the Xbox Series S holding the generation back. But this says here, Black Myth Wukong's director confirms Xbox delay is because of the Series S. Now, to be fair, there is nowhere in the quote did the director say that the delay there was only because of that. He didn't deny any sort of deal that was basically out here being put out there as the reason why this game did get delayed, and it had nothing to do with how we'll look at the Microsoft quotes after this. But here is exactly what he does say. He says, and again, this is on Chinese social media Weibo, which is their main social media platform over there. So it's been translated and it could potentially be somewhat not one-to-one as to exactly what he said. But this is him talking. It's in context about the Steam Awards. And he says, although there were no big surprises, I still felt a little emotional after taking all of them, Steam Awards, because they won a bunch of awards there. Everyone's fighting power is so terrifying, but the only thing missing is the Xbox robe. It seems a bit wrong, but that 10 gigs shared memory without a few years of optimization experience, it really can't be taken down. So obviously that translation isn't perfect into English, but he is basing that memory, that 10 gigs of memory that the Xbox Series S has, which we have heard previously that could have be an issue with developing games. You have to optimize for it. You have to be able to grab resources and make sure that the games can take use of everything that is available on the Xbox Series S. But I mean, throughout this generation, majority, like 99% of games have been completely fine that have released them, and developers have been able to do it. There have been some odd cases here and there. Baldur's Gate 3, the major one that I can recall, that got worked out. It's fixed. It's on the Series S now. But he is saying here that is the reason why it's not on the Series S. Also, I would say admitting that they just aren't very good at optimizing for console. They aren't good at developing for the console. They're for PC. They develop for PC. That's where this game runs and plays the best. Even on the PlayStation 5, the base PlayStation 5, there were tons of issues with this game at launch. So I think a lot of this has to do with just the fact that they are inexperienced at optimizing and developing for the console, which would make sense. It's their first game they're putting out there on these consoles. They're going to have issues. And I'm sure now with the success of Black Myth Wukong, they'll have more knowledge, resources, and everything. And their next games going forward won't have as many issues as it has had on console. But he is saying there that the 10 gigabytes of memory, of shared memory on the Series S is an issue for them. And that is what is kind of the negative right now for the game. They want to get it out on the Xbox. That's what it does sound like. So now everyone is taking that quote and they are saying the exclusivity deal, that we have a quote basically saying that, and also saying that there's no hardware issues with Xbox as to why the game wasn't on the platform, was a lie. Basically saying Microsoft is lying about this, because that was what was reported by Forbes and Paul Tassi, who was, I believe, the first person that came out with his sources. Then we saw other people saying that their sources corroborate. Now, we don't know who the sources are, but they're saying their sources that they do have. And when people always say reveal your sources, to me is really zero understanding as to how any of this is work. Because if you do reveal sources from people who want to stay anonymous, you're going to lose that source and not get any more information on the inside of the industry to be able to create these articles that get lots of traffic and clicks and all of that stuff. So they're never going to reveal their sources, even though people will continuously say that they should. But here are some of the quotes that Microsoft put out about this game. It's very contradictory, and you have to, I guess, kind of believe who you want to believe. So first of all, this was one of their statements that Microsoft said on the Xbox release in response to Black Myth Wukong. It says, "We're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on the Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We can't comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that." So they don't say that there is a deal here with PlayStation. They just say they can't comment on other deals with other platformers, which you would insinuate that there is something going on in the background here. They can't comment on it. But that isn't the quote that I think caught most people's attention. That was the first one. But then they went ahead and commented again. And this is the big one I think that people need to focus on when you're trying to decide what is going on here, because it is quite confusing. They say this, and well, this is the article from Paul Tassi on Forbes, that everybody is now calling him out and saying that basically he made this up, or he's lying, or he just got it wrong, he should retract it, all that stuff. And the title of the article says, "Microsoft confirms Black Myth Wukong delay not due to platform limitations. Comments on exclusivity." And he writes, "In a statement given to me by Microsoft representative, the company has confirmed that the delay of Black Myth Wukong is not due to technical issues with Xbox platforms, and instead, similar to its original statement, points to outside platform developer deals," and says, "As we have said before, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on the Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We prefer not to comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we can confirm that the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us." So they are explicitly here saying the reason why the game isn't on Xbox has nothing to do with any platform limitations, has nothing to do with the Xbox Series S. So you could take a look at that and then compare it to what the director of Black Myth Wukong is saying, and you choose who you want to believe. But people are basically now saying that Microsoft came out and is lying about this. I have a hard time believing that based on the way everything has gone down with this game. Just the fact that they announced it for multi-platform, and the last second they said that they were only releasing it on PlayStation, and Microsoft and their spokespeople out there explicitly going out and lying about the situation. I don't know if that does them any justice. And I feel like Black Myth Wukong and that company there, they have a bit more leeway and probably more incentive to bend the truth a little bit, so that people don't believe that they are going out and making shady deals and stuff like that, and trying to piss off the people who would potentially be buying their game on Xbox. If they can make it seem like it has to do with the platform itself and nothing to do with a deal that has been made, when they do eventually release it on Xbox, they would maybe praised for putting in the extra work to work out those issues with the game itself. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell, but it does seem like if Microsoft isn't telling the truth here, they just blatantly came out and lied about what was happening here with Black Myth Wukong, at least based off of that quote itself. The other thing that a lot of people are questioning too is because Paul Tassi explicitly put out in a tweet that his sources has said there was an exclusivity deal. So this is his original tweet saying, a source with knowledge of the situation has told me that Black Myth Wukong is not currently on Xbox because of an exclusivity deal and is not delayed because of any sort of technical issue, which falls in line with the official statement that Xbox did put out there. But then he also goes on to comment on other insiders who said that there was no exclusivity deal, Special Nick as well as Jeff Krubb, who said there's no Sony money marketing deal keeping Black Myth Wukong off of Xbox. And he says, I have a lot of respect for Jeff and Nick. I would not have published without what I consider to be an extremely authoritative source. Frustrating to not be able to say more. The situation has been described to me as bizarre, which I can certainly agree with at this point. And he says, based on what they're saying, it seems possible a temporary exclusive deal was done for paying to get the port done on PlayStation side without paying for a traditional marketing deal. Clearly, marketing is not involved. Specifically told it's not a tech issue for Xbox causing the delay. So he's tripling down here that it is not an Xbox technical issue that has caused delay, which flies completely in the face of what the director does say here. But I think it does make a ton of sense if you look at what happened with this game, the way that it performed on PlayStation 5 when it did launch. There were definitely lots of issues there, still needed to be updated and everything and to be fixed. It would make sense because of the relationship between the Asian regions and PlayStation and everything, that PlayStation also not having very many first-party games releasing in 2024, spending and helping Game Science to get this game optimized for the PlayStation 5, giving them some resources, giving them some money to get it optimized for the PS5. Game Science being a smaller developer, yes, backed by Tencent, but they don't have a huge catalog of games or anything like that, needing extra help to get these games optimized on console, especially if they don't have very much experience. And with the Series S, it will take more time and resources to get games developed for it. They just decided to go with the PlayStation 5, and maybe that's kind of the deal that they are insinuating here. But it's a very confusing situation overall, and hopefully Xbox comes out and responds to requests for a response to what the developer, the director of Black Myth Wukong said. I'm sure they'll come out with the same PR stuff and say they don't comment on deals and everything. And from what we understand, it still has nothing to do with the Xbox hardware. We won't get any further ahead as to who is correct or not. You're basically at the point of who do you want to believe, but instantly you've seen everybody who are PlayStation fanboys take this and calling the Xbox side liars, or Paul Tassi and everyone who reported on this as liars and having false sources, and that they need to retract the statements and everything. But the reality is, there will be more, I think, to this story that does come out. I think now with him commenting on it on social media and everything, that maybe Xbox does give a bit more information, or maybe more insiders get more information, and maybe more sources provide more information and feel like that they should because of everything that is going on. Or maybe nobody cares. But at the end of the day, it is a very bizarre situation. And yes, even if PlayStation paid some money or helped get this game developed, the reality of the situation is, at the end of the day, Xbox needs to step up and make sure that this does not happen going forward. If they care about these games, if they don't want to have these PR messes that do pop up, they need to make sure that they send out somebody there to get the game optimized for the Series S. They use their teams and their resources. They're a massive company. They can do it and make sure this doesn't happen again, so that the platform and the PR and everyone talking about it doesn't end up in the situation here where, again, everyone is blaming the Xbox Series S for everything that is happening in the gaming industry. We're only in the second day of January, and Xbox may be dead again for some people. Who knows? But we'll continue to track the story, and obviously the other news that does come out. It should be a very fun January. I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.